Unicorns Talk is a weekly podcast where we discuss the ups and downs of the human experience, from personal growth to romantic relationships and everything in between. This show is for life livers, life lovers, and life enhancers. My name is Latrice Sampson Richards, your life enhancement coach, and together we're going to laugh, love, and learn to maneuver all of life's little messes. Let's go. Hey everybody, it's Latrice Sampson Richards here. I am a licensed professional counselor and a certified life purpose and relationship coach for Black women who are ready to heal from their past so we can build the future that we deserve. And this is episode number 28 of Unicorns Talk podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so grateful to have you here today, and I've actually put together a very good show for y'all today. I really, really like it. I'm doing an interview today with Lakiesha Russell, who is the host of the Evolving Chair podcast. And so she and I talked about what it means to be a single mother, to be a licensed professional counselor, and also to be a business owner and a podcaster and kind of juggling everything that she has going on. And so I was very inspired by talking to her and her candidness and her openness about just what her life looks like. And so I think that this is a very inspirational interview. I think that anyone who listens to it, I think you'll find a lot of benefit from this experience. Hopefully, I think you will. And then what else? Also, of course, I'm going to do my shout outs and high five today. You know where it's going. Wakanda. Okay, Black Panther blew it out of the water. And so there's a part of me that feels like I want to spend like 30 minutes just talking about the movie, but I don't want to give any spoilers. But my high five does go to Wakanda today for the Black Panther. And so I'll get to that and talk about that a little bit later. And then just let y'all know everything that I have going on or coming up or whatever. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the interview. Lakiesha Russell is the mother of two energetic and intelligent children. She is a licensed professional counselor in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, who enjoys speaking on all things mental wellness for children and families. She coins herself as America's mental wellness ambassador. Lakeisha received her education from Mount Mary University, where she studied community counseling. She has always had a passion for breaking the negative stereotypes among the community about mental health and therapy. Lakeisha hosts a podcast that is a platform to help begin the conversations about mental health and therapy while encouraging individuals to evolve into their better self in order to live their best life by becoming healthy physically, mentally, and spiritually. So anytime you hear Lakeisha speak, be ready to ask yourself, are you ready to leave the chair better than you came? Without further ado, here's my interview with Lakeisha Russell. Enjoy. How are you?
I'm good, Latrice. How are you?
I am doing really, really well. I'm so excited to have you on the show today. I'm really excited about being able to interview you. It's not often that I get an opportunity to interview another clinician, so it's always I'm always interested in how other clinicians kind of deal with life and help in the helping professions. So I'm really looking forward to talking to you today.
Yes, me too. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's go ahead and kind of start in that area. You're LPC, right? Just like myself, which is a licensed professional counselor. What state are you licensed in again?
In Wisconsin.
In Wisconsin, girl. I think didn't I tell you before? I didn't even know they had Black people in Wisconsin, girl. It just
You did, and I was like, yeah, it's some Black folks folks in Wisconsin.
Yes, and that is like pure ignorance on my part. I just feel like
No.
there's certain parts of the country that in my mind, like there are no black people there. I feel like it's too cold for black people to be in Wisconsin. So you're licensed in Wisconsin as a licensed professional counselor, and you're in private practice as well, right?
Correct, I am.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about like how you ended up in the helping professions. Like what was it that led you to be in the LPC? I feel like that's the number one question I get from my friends and family. Like, I don't see how you deal with them crazy people, how you do that. And so what was your journey like? How did you know that this was the direction you wanted your life to go in?
I think it started back since I was smaller. I've just always loved working with people, and my first job at 14 was at the Boys and Girls Club, and I was a PAL assistant, so working with the 5 to 8 year olds, and I just loved interacting with them. And I've just always had a love, especially for working with children, because I felt like, especially minority children, I felt like they were always the ones being dropped the balls on when it came to just getting services and really helping them. And a lot of the times when people see our kids, they just see the behaviors and not really understanding the backstory. And it's like I wanted to be that advocate on their behalf, as well as working with them to help them cope through those life issues and traumas and things like that. So it was really since I was young, I just have loved working with people.
Yeah, I say that all the time. I really believe that counseling is one of those professions that you kind of have to be called to it. My story is similar to yours in that I've always kind of been a counselor. That's kind of what I hear you saying is that it's just something that's always been a part of who you are. And so I think it takes a very special person to be a counselor, or to be a good counselor anyway. Yeah. So, what was it like for you? As you were moving through the field, moving through the industry, and things like that. How did you know you wanted to be an entrepreneur in this industry?
That was something I think in grade. I always knew I wanted to have my own business. I always wanted to have my own practice. So like when I was working in the field in the younger days, and I would like be taking my clients to go see the psychologist or psychiatrist and things like that. I'm like, man, they some dope people. Like, I want to be like them. And I wanted to be my own boss. I didn't want to be punching nobody's time clock. Right now, I operate my private practice part time, so I still do work full time because I'm working towards that dream. But I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Yes.
Yes, yes. But we got to do what we got to do.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I just always knew that I wanted to just be the leader of my own time and be like, oh, I don't feel like going to work today. I'm gonna take this day off, and then having more of that flexibility to service my own children and be there for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was actually I was going to be my next question. I was going to ask you. I know you have two kids of your own, a boy and a girl, and you are a single mom. And so, what has that experience been like for you? Whereas, like your job, your day-to-day job is to help other people's children go through things and deal with things and process things, and then to have to come back home and do the same thing for your children. Talk to me a little bit about that, the juxtaposition between those two things, and how do you find a way to balance it all?
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all and sell y'all a dream. Like it is easy. It is far from that. It's definitely a challenge because I am dealing with other people's children all day long, and I'm in their environment. So I'm a mental health therapist in a school for my full time job, and so I'm there with the babies all day. So that it can be draining. And so then to come home to my children, I have to muster up that extra energy so I can be attentive to them, because I think it would be unfair of me to show all this attention and really get invested in other children because I care about them and their well-being and not be there emotionally for my own kids. And so it's really me telling myself, okay, Key, girl, you gotta wake up, get re-energized. And one thing too, I try to tell my kids, like, give me like 10 minutes because I need to transition. So meaning I'm doing a guided relaxation. So the same things that we talk to our clients about doing, I'm doing that kind of stuff. I'm meditating, I'm praying. And that allows me to get re-energized and back focused on the things for the rest of the night that has to do with my own children.
Yeah, absolutely. What is the most difficult piece for you in terms of making that transition between clinician and single mom or mom, just mom in general? Because I know that we have to learn how to turn it off and on as clinicians. We have to know how to turn it off and on. And so, but I think all of us struggle with it from time to time. What is the biggest difficulty that you have in making that transition on a day-to-day basis?
I think the biggest challenging part of that transition for me is to not be in therapy mode all day. Like, I feel because, right, I deal with kids all day long, 9 to 5, and then my kids, like, that kind of lingers over. And, just some things that I've learned just from like my own raising with my parents sometimes get lost in that because I'm just like almost like a factory per se, because I'm constantly in that therapist mode, and it's like, okay, Key, chill out. Like, now it's time to turn it off and be a mom. And not to say I couldn't be a therapeutic mama, but I'm always looking at it from that therapist perspective. And now it's like, okay, let's take those lenses off and just be your kid's mom right now. Like, you don't have to analyze them every little thing that they say or do. Like, it's not that deep.
Right, right.
So I would say that is like the biggest challenge with just knowing when to really turn it off, especially when you have kids. Because, right, I think because we deal with the kids and what they're going through, the traumas and stuff like that. So, like, especially when the kids are like your kids' age or close to it, you automatically see your kids in their shoes. And so you're trying to do different things to prevent any situation like that happening with your family.
Yeah, you get hyper conscious, I think,
Yes.
of what's going on in your own life. I mean, I don't have any kids yet, but I do it with my husband all the time, and he gets so upset with me. I think to a certain extent. Sometimes he likes it, but sometimes he gets really upset with me, because he's like, I'm not your job. I'm not your job. I'm not at work. But I think it makes us hypersensitive because we have a very unique opportunity to see the world from multiple angles.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So you also have a podcast, right? The
I
Evolving Chair
do.
podcast. How did you know, like, how did you even get into podcasting, this crazy, crazy world of podcasting? How did you know that this was something that you wanted to do? And how was it for you, like the process of getting into podcasting? What was that like for you?
So I knew I wanted to do it. So the whole thing with podcasting was so foreign to me. I knew nothing about it. And a friend of mine's, Chanel, would always be like, we should record stuff so people can hear our conversation. And it's a group of four of us. So myself, Sherry, Chanel, and Nadia. And we would be like, okay, but that would never happen. And one day, me and Nadia just got together and was brainstorming, like, okay, well, we keep saying we're gonna record and have a show together, so let's just get on the ball and just brainstorm some different ideas. And at that time of like trying to brainstorm a collective podcast, I was like, well, I think it would be really nice if there was a podcast talking about mental health issues, especially within the minority community, just to continue opening that dialogue and breaking down those stigmas about mental health and therapy. And from there, literally, the evolving chair was birthed out of that conversation. And I've never looked back since. But the journey for it, man, Latrice, I'm sure you know. Uh,
Yeah. Very, very well. Yes, yes.
it could be a bit overwhelming at times. And for me, it was I was always looking at the numbers, and then I felt like parts of me would get away from like what the real mission was, because it was like then I was like comparing myself to other podcasts, and podcasts that are in different genres. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I need to stop looking at numbers, because I'm comparing, and then I'm feeling like, oh, my podcast isn't good enough. I'm not getting as many downloads as them. So then it was like, oh, I need to be looking at the numbers, but I had to take a seat back to be like, nope, I'm coming too far away from what my mission and vision is for the Evolve and Share podcast, because I'm focusing on the numbers. I need to get back to focusing on the people and the message that I'm trying to deliver. But yeah, I mean, podcasting was definitely something that I had to learn in terms of just like what to record, how to record, connecting with different people to record. Because I started my podcast literally on my phone and having interviews through Skype. And then like I would have all kind of technical difficulties, and I just be like, you know what? I don't know. And my friend recommended an individual from our area from Everyday Media. Shouts out to Dooch. And I've been rocking with him ever since. So that was the best move ever. So if anybody's thinking of starting a podcast, I would just say invest in that. If you have the opportunity to invest in like a studio, a small studio, or somebody that knows how to record podcasts, I would really say do that, just for the sound quality of things.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I don't have a studio per se, but I have learned the importance of investing in the sound quality. And so, because it really does, it makes a difference. I mean, my little setup, girl, I have the easiest setup in the world. I promise you I do. But it does make a difference in terms of the quality of the finished product, right? Yeah. So how do your kids feel about you being a podcaster? How old are your babies?
My son is 10 and my daughter is 9. They've actually been on the podcast. So
Oh,
they
okay.
enjoy, yeah. And I can't remember what session it was, but it was during my relationship series. And, one of the relationships I wanted to highlight was, our relationships with our kids. And they loved it.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So, what kind of feedback have you gotten since the podcast really kind of aired and got out there? What kind of feedback have you received from like your friends and family or people you know? Do you have clients that listen? What has that experience been like for you?
It has definitely been overwhelming in a good way, because, of course, I'm putting out this content and I'm like, okay, talking about mental health and therapy is not sexy and cool at all. So I'm like, I don't know if people are going to be feeling it or whatever, but from the reviews and people DMing me and things like that are just like, I'm so grateful. Like, you are helping people. Like, you're helping us. Thank you for producing this content. Like, stay true to you and keep this going, because I'm listening. Even like the guided relaxations. I know one person was like, I just learned that from the Evolve and Chair podcast. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, like for people to come back and be like, I would not have thought about it that way.
So, how many episodes do you have of the Evolving Chair? How long have you been doing
So I started recording back in April of last year. And so right now I have 32 sessions. So I coined them as sessions, to give people that therapeutic feel of therapy. And right now I'm on a season break. So I'll be gearing up for my season 2 in February of this year. So I'm so excited for that.
Good. Yes, that's so exciting. I always like I that's one part that I definitely need to figure out. I know that I want to do seasons because I know that I need to take a break at some point, you know. But I don't know what that looks like or at what point that's going to happen. So I definitely understand needing and taking that break for sure.
Yes, and I think that was my motivation. On top of too, like me going through like that comparison syndrome, and I was just like, wait, like my mission and vision is getting lost in me comparing, and I need a break.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a struggle, you know. It's hard because you want to do it. You're doing it because you care about the people that you're helping and making the connections and the work itself. But then there is that financial component of it because you want it to be successful, and you get it's so easy to get wrapped into download numbers and all of that other stuff. So I definitely understand trying to juggle that for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what's coming up next for you? What's your plan? What is the vision for 2018?
Honestly, to increase my visibility for sure, whether it be speaking, um, increasing my clientele for my private practice, and really increasing our community's knowledge about mental health and therapy. And so, like, I feel like it's more accepted now, but yet it's still like a lot of barriers that we have to go through for individuals to really understand the importance of our mind and when it's in that healthy state, and how much greater we can be when we're able to cope with certain things. So I feel like that is what's next for me. Definitely, I have some stuff working on my YouTube channel. I want to be out there more in terms of videos as well. Because I honestly, like, my long term goal is working towards a TV show. Like, that is my ideal.
Oh,
And so I'm hoping and prayerfully willing to get to that place, putting in the work.
right, right, absolutely. That's an amazing goal. What about personally? What are your goals and your vision for 2018?
Personally, setting boundaries and sticking with them. So, meaning me being okay with saying no. Like, I have this big thing where it takes a lot for me to say no, but when I'm always saying yes, 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 that drains my energy and depletes me. And I'm like, I need to work on saying no more. So it's the same things we talk to other individuals about, right, in session,
Right.
about setting those boundaries, say no. That those are the very well the same things that I need to work on myself as well. And so, just with me being okay with saying my no, and my no meaning no, and being okay with that, as well as self care too. Because, just in what we do, working with people and getting their energy, like, I want to be able to preserve my energy so that way I'm not so drained and depleted after a day. But so doing more mindfulness and things like that.
Absolutely. I tell people all the time, my job is to take on other people's problems. But I still got my own problems, girl. And so, it's a lot. It can be a lot sometimes. All right. Well, so why don't you go ahead and let everybody know how they can reach you, and find you out there in the social medias and things like that.
Yes, so on Instagram, I am at the Evolving Chair. On Twitter, I'm at the Evolving Chair without the R, which is purposeful. It was too many letters. On Facebook, you can find me at the Evolving Chair. I have a YouTube channel, The Evolving Chair, and you can email me if you have questions, or if you're in the Milwaukee area and you're needing a therapist, at Lakiesha, Lakiesha, at theevolvingchair.com. And you can find my podcast on everywhere that you stream your podcast from. So iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud.
Yeah, girl, everywhere, everywhere. Yes, ma'am. Well, Lakeisha, thank you so much for being on the show. I really enjoyed talking to you today. I know you got a whole lot going on. You got your babies and things like that. So I appreciate you for taking the time out of your schedule to talk to my listeners and things like that. And I'm excited for you, girl. I'm looking forward to seeing everything that you have coming up. And shout out to It's Whatever podcast because they really kind of linked us together and was like, hey, I think y'all need to talk. You know, y'all might be able to do something together. And so it really, literally brought us together and gave us an opportunity to get to know each other, which led to this moment. And then, you have, like you said, Evolving Chair podcast is getting started again in February. So I'm sure we'll find another reason to chit chat with each other. And this is not going to be our last time when something together, I am sure.
Yes, it is not the last time at all.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you again, and kiss your babies and hug your babies from me, and tell them Auntie Tree say hey. They don't know me yet, but they gonna know me eventually.
Yes.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. All right. I hope that you were as inspired by Lakeisha's words as I was. It was a joy talking to her. And listen, I was just grateful that she was so committed to doing this interview. She was like on the road, going pick her kids up, and she held true to her responsibility or to her commitment that she made to doing this interview. And she was a delight to speak with. And I definitely feel like I have learned so much more about her that just makes me want to know even more. So check out her podcast, the Evolving Chair podcast. Once again, shout out to It's Whatever podcast for linking us together all up in the IGD DMs or whatever how the kids say. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to working with Lakeisha in the future and seeing what we can put together. Two black women helping the black community. I mean, how can you go wrong with that, right? Right. That's what I'm saying. All right. Coming up next is High Five. This week's high five goes to the Kingdom of Wakanda. Listen, I had the opportunity to visit Wakanda twice this weekend, and I was trying to go a third time, but I wasn't able to make it because I had actual work that needed to get done, and I just can't spend all my time all up in Wakanda. But I definitely wanted to spend as much time as I could in Wakanda. So I made two trips to Wakanda this weekend, and my life has been thoroughly enriched as a result of it. I just want to give a high five, really like a double high five. So a high 10 to the entire kingdom of Wakanda worldwide. Listen, my heart just fluttered with joy the entire weekend. I went to the midnight showing. I went to the premiere showing on Friday. Looking at the pictures, watching just the awesome and amazingness that is the kingdom of Wakanda just come to life all over Instagram, all over Facebook. I mean, it was a beautiful, beautiful sight to see. I made a post when I got back from the midnight showing. I made a post on my personal Facebook page, and I was like, just got back from Wakanda. And, the sunset is gorgeous. Best sunset ever, which it really is. And so one of my non black friends commented on the post, and she was like, well, girl, where is that? And And I said, girl, that is the birthplace of the Black Panther boo. I done been there twice already. But, I think I was so wrapped up in the Wakanda Forever bubble that I didn't realize that there are some people that just are not in the bubble with us. And so, listen, the Kingdom of Wakanda showed out. I think the movie went above and beyond many expectations, which is, I think that in and of itself is an accomplishment because it was already expected to do great things. The movie broke all kinds of records, and we did that. The Kingdom of Wakanda did that for the movie. We were not the only ones to watch the movie, but we came out in droves. And I think that it really shows the power of the kingdom. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. It shows the power of the kingdom and what we can accomplish when we really work together for a common good. And I love it, and I was so moved by it. And I was so just, I don't know, I was just touched by it because I feel like it was everything that I know our kingdom can be. Like not just the movie. The movie itself, Wakanda, I want to live in Wakanda. Like I'm not playing. I want to live in Wakanda. But I'm talking about the virtual kingdom of Wakanda and how all across the globe people showed up and showed out in support of the idea of this movie, of everything that this movie represents, of from the good, the bad, the ugly, the great, the awesome, the amazing, like just everything that this movie represents, everything that this movie validates, everything that this movie forces us to contemplate. I mean, it was just, we showed up, we showed out. And so to the entire global community and kingdom of Wakanda, high five, bitch. High five. I had enjoyed y'all. I had enjoyed it all. All right. So that's my high five for today. And that's all I have for y'all today, ladies and gentlemen. Because I do have a few gentlemen that listen to the show. And so just a few shout outs. I definitely want to give a shout out again to to It's Whatever podcast. I know that y'all are listening and y'all know I be checking y'all out. I enjoy y'all's show. Thank you so much for listening and for always supporting the show. Y'all check out It's Whatever podcast if you have not yet. It's just a good time wrapped up in good information. You know what I'm saying? So I really enjoy that podcast. Also, big shout out to BYNK Radio, more specifically to the Black Married Fly podcast. You all might remember them from last week's episode, our Valentine's Day episode. I did an interview with Trev and Candace Danae. They are the hosts of Black Married Fly podcast. And on their show last week, they gave me a shout out. They give me a shout out every week, and I love it and I appreciate it. But Candace gave me a shout out for Trust Village, which you all know is my Facebook group. And I wanted to say, Candace, because I know you're listening, girl. Um, After you did that shout out, I actually I was behind on listening to the episode. So I didn't even know that you had done the shout out to, that you had mentioned Trust Village on the show. And somebody requested to join, a new member requested to join Trust Village. And when I asked, one of the questions is, how did you hear about us? And she said, oh, I heard Candace talking about it on Black Mary Fly podcast. And I was like, what? So thank you so much for just being so supportive. And I think, believing in the vision and seeing the vision and allowing me to participate in your journey. I really do love y'all. And like, y'all are really like no longer my friends in my head. Like, I feel a connection to y'all. And I think, sometimes you just know when it's gonna pop off. So oh, and I also wanted to say, yes, I do be code switching. I know how to do that very well. I'm very proficient at it. I went to private school. I had to learn it very early on in life. So anyway, shout out to Black Mary Fly podcast, as well as the entire BYNK radio family. Check out part of that BYNK iHeartRadio family is, I don't remember his last name, but I know his first name is Rain, I think it is. And he does the, what is it, the Black Nerd podcast. Oh man, I feel bad because I don't remember the exact name of the podcast. But I am going to remember the name of the podcast. But y'all know what I'm talking about, BYNK radio. Go ahead and post it in the comments. A link to the Black Nerd podcast, because he did an entire course on Wakanda 101. And so he breaks down everything you need to know about the Black Panther, all of the background, all of the history behind the Black Panther, like just all of it. And so that was really my study guide when I was time to. The Carefree Black Nerd podcast. There we go. Carefree Black Nerd podcast. I That was what I listened to prepare myself to enter the kingdom of Wakanda, so that I could make sure that I understood exactly what was going on. And so shout out to the Carefree Black Nerd podcast. Check him out as well. What else? Who else? Of course, shout out to the Evolving Chair podcast. Check that out. And one of my favorite podcasts, The Read. I love The Read. I recently started watching or listening to The Friend Zone also, and I really, really enjoyed The Friend Zone. Sometimes when there's like three people, I don't always enjoy a lot of people on a podcast because I feel like it just gets to be a bit too much. But there are a few podcasts, like It's Whatever podcast, but also now the Friend Zone podcast, that I feel like it works. They're not. It's not too loud. It's not too distracting. It works, and I really, really enjoy that podcast. So, yeah. Yeah, I think that's all my shout outs for today. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, rate, like all of that good stuff, especially on Apple Podcasts. Make sure that you're tuning in and listening across all platforms: iHeartRadio, Spotify, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, like wherever podcasts are available. You can catch Unicorns Talk podcast there. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please, please, please let somebody know that you enjoyed this and that this might be something that they want to check out. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm also, oh, I almost forgot. Big announcement. So I am going to start doing a after the show on Facebook Live. So make sure that you like my page on Facebook at Unicorns Talk Pod. On Wednesdays after the show, I'm going to do a live stream on the Unicorns Talk Podcast Facebook page and Facebook community, really. And we're going to talk about whatever you want to talk about, but it will be guided around whatever the episode topic was for that day. And so I'm excited about this. This is something new that I'm doing for the podcast, because, I get a lot of people send me messages and things after the podcast is over. And so I thought it would just be like after they've listened to the episode. And so I thought it would just be a really good idea to kind of, just have a discussion and make myself available to answer any questions. So if you want to meet me live, talk to me in the flesh. I mean, it ain't face to face, but it is face to face at the same time, please do that. So follow me on Instagram. Also like me on Facebook. I might do it on Instagram too. I might do a dual thing. I think that's what's going to happen. So Facebook and Instagram, check it out. And yeah, I think that's all I have for you. The Empower Your Vision Masterclass pre-sale is going to go up next week, and so I'm super duper excited about that. You'll be able to pre-order your Empower Your Vision Masterclass class course, and so your spot for it rather. So I'm really excited about that coming out, and just touching as many lives as I can, and helping you all, and helping y'all helps me. It really does. And so I'm just grateful that you allow me every week to enter your lives and to participate in your journey. And there are not enough words in the entire Wakandan language dictionary to fully explain what that means to me. All right. So I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. And until next time, be well. Bye, y'all.